And suddenly I feel your lips on me. I feel your lips on me. And suddenly I feel your lips on me. I feel your lips on me.
Freshman from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, number 11, Deja Trubutska. Senior on attack from Woodbury, Connecticut, number 14, Jessica Boardwalk. Junior midfielder from Auburn, Maine, number 15, Megan Steele. Junior midfielder from Newbury, Massachusetts, number 16, Allie Bergen. A senior on defense from South Windsor, Connecticut, number 22, Caitlin Hunter. And the goalie is a senior from Peterborough, New Hampshire, number 23, Emma Crowley. And the rest of the Emmanuel College Saints, head coach Liz Maloney.
No sweatpants.
And now the starting lineup for the Jumbos. A senior midfielder from Green Bay, California, number 4, Anna Clark. Junior attack from Cold Spring Harbor, New York, number 5, Caroline Walter. Senior attack from Ridgefield, Connecticut, number 7, Dave Variety.
She's looking for the coach to shake her hand.
Senior
Coaches never
midfielder
know.
from Boston, Massachusetts, number 10, Catherine Delaney. Freshman on defense from Cambridge, Massachusetts, number 13, Catherine Fernando Torres. A junior on defense from Abington, Pennsylvania, number 15, Becca Cable. Freshman midfielder from Wayland, Massachusetts, number 17,
Pretty sure Madeline Delaney's not playing. I think she's the one.
A sophomore midfielder from Towson, Maryland,
Next
number
to
23, Emma Joyce.
That's all in love.
A senior on defense from Andover, Massachusetts, number 25, Linda Powell. Freshman on attack from Newtown Springs, Pennsylvania, number 27, Margie Curtis.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's first names.
A junior on defense from Glenville, Illinois, number 35, Mary Grace Reynolds. Hitting goal for the Bows is a senior from Newburytown, Massachusetts, number 32, Molly Liberty. And the rest of the Tufts University Jumbos, head coach Courtney Shute. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please stand and remove your hats as we honor America and those who support our freedom at home and abroad with the playing of our national anthem.
We want to welcome you all to Bellow Field. My name is Niles Lowe, and I'm joined here by Joe Schmidt. Today we have a matchup between the visiting Emmanuel Saints, who are 8-5 on the season, and the number 9 ranked Jumbos, who are 9-3. Both teams have won their last couple games and look to continue their runs today. Joe, what should we look for in today's game?
Good to be here with you tonight, Niles. For Emmanuel, this is going to be the biggest test of their season thus far. They're facing their first ranked opponent of the year in the formidable Jumbos, but they have been of winning ways of late, winners of 5 straight, and the Jumbos will be looking to make sure that dominance does not continue. For Tufts, tonight's going to be about depth. They're without a couple key contributors, most notably Madison Lehan on defense. They're going to start a lineup with a mix of experience and youth, with players like Emma Joyce, Fernando Pule, and May Briotti all stepping in.
As for the Emmanuel Saints, what can we expect from them?
So for the Saints, number 7, Chandra Franca, is the main contributor. She's got 53 goals on the season, 110 career goals. Really a huge contributor. It'll be interesting to see how she matches up against a tough Tufts defense tonight.
Yep, and as the players look to take the field here,
yeah, so we'll see who starts at midfield for the Jumbos. Madeline Delaney is out, number 9.
yeah, and interesting, as we were seeing before the game, it looks like the Jumbos are starting a second-string midfield today, isn't that right?
Yeah, it's a mixture of starters and second string. So it'll still be Catherine Delaney and Anna Clark, 2 of the veterans of this team, 2 of the leaders of this team, great players from the midfield. Looks like it will be Emma Joyce, number 23, the sophomore, in the midfield as well, with Ella L'Esperance at attack. So we'll look to see how Joyce mixes into this first midfield line.
Catherine Delaney at the center circle, who has 24 draw controls this season, looking to add to that total.
Yeah, and we do see that although she is in the center of the draw, Anna Clark, number 4, does control the majority of the draws for this Jumbos team.
And here we go. Draw one backwards. And that'll be Saints ball.
Yeah, just a pretty good battle. Little ticky-tack foul. Either way, Anna Drillin gets it done for the Saints.
And this will be our first look at a Saints offense that seems to run almost solely through Franca, number 7, who has the ball right now.
Yeah, so far, not really looking for anything yet. Kind of getting set up, moving the ball around, getting their touches. We'll see where they try to initiate from here.
Steele carrying. Looking for that crease cutter. Saints keeping the ball up top. And that pass is picked off by number 15, Becca Gable.
Yeah, and here comes Gable in transition. She just loves to make those great cause turnovers.
Gable to Cardin. Cardin driving all the way in. Shot, and that bouncer will go. That is a quick goal for the Jumbos in transition.
Yeah, transition hasn't really been their hallmark this season, but when Becca Gable picks off a pass like that and can just take it the length of the field, the Saints just look pretty lost in transition there. Jumbo's on the board early. That'll be good for Courtney Shute to see. Yeah, and Margie Cardin continuing her great scoring ways. She's just been absolutely dominating this season.
And the Bows here looking to push that pace in transition all game, especially against the shallow Saints lineup.
Yeah, it is notable. They only have 19 players on their roster, which is significantly less than the majority of teams we've seen here at Bellow.
Yeah, and when you compare that to the Jumbos roster, who is incredibly deep, as we saw earlier with basically the second midfield line starting, it should be interesting down the stretch here. And that draw is won by the Jumbos. Joyce with the ball carrying. Right hand. Bows look to push in transition again. And that'll be an early free position for the Jumbos.
Yeah, just a good job by Emma Joyce running past the first defender, able to draw that shooting space. This is a good opportunity for her to get on the board, potentially kill any jitters she might have about starting this game.
And Joyce, who has 2 goals and 2 assists on the season, looks to add to that total as she drives towards the net. Low bouncer in the bottom right corner, make that 3 goals on the season.
Yeah, just once again, a little too much space afforded to Tufts shooters. I know it's a shooting space, a free position, but not a good enough job done collapsing in on that. And the Jumbos are really starting to assert their quality early on, really showing Emmanuel a taste of, what a ranked opponent is like.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked a little bit before we got on the broadcast about how the dominance of the Jumbos team really shows itself with how deep they are, and today we're really seeing that in full force.
Yeah, and so right away we're seeing the second midfield. Caroline Walters coming down from attack to take the draw, but Caroline Conahan is in at attack to replace her. Jenna Gibbons and Sammy Rothstein on the edges of the draw circle. So once again, another example of that depth for Tufts.
Yeah, and Sammy Rothstein, who hasn't seen a lot of plays sort of in these early stages of the game this season, looking to make an immediate impact here on the draw. But this draw is won by the Saints. Loose ball. And it will be Saints' ball as the Saints look to set up their offense.
Yeah, Drillin is looking really strong on the draw control. She does lead the Saints far and away with draw controls. She's showing why. Not the tallest player, but really able to get it done in the circle.
And Drillin now moves it to Franca. Second look at the Saints' offense as they look for those cutters. The Saints really seem to have a patient style, really moving it around the outside. Not a whole lot of dodging so far. And as I say that, we see a dodge by Shremuksova to the left.
Yeah, at times it's looking a little bit stagnant. They're trying to cut through the middle a little bit, look for the crease. But so far it's been defended well. And honestly, they haven't been able to win a one-on-one matchup, which is not going to create any slides from this Tufts defense. So unless they can win some one-on-one matchups, it's going to be really hard to get players open in the middle.
Franca now setting up her dodge with her right hand. Nothing there as the Jumbos defense swarms, cutter, shot wide, and that will be a free position very close to the net here.
Yeah, so there's a good opportune cut to create an opportunity for the Saints. A good play there when Franca was in a little bit of trouble, defended well by Gable there.
And this looks like it'll be Bourdois with the shot. And that shot is tipped from behind, scooped up by La Liberty.
Yeah, and so as I said about the Saints crashing in on the free position earlier on the shot from Joyce, there Tufts does a great job of it, gets a stick to Bourdois' stick, and the shot is altered, an easy save for La Liberty.
And what looked like a scary opportunity there for the Saints is quickly swallowed up by the Jumbos, and they look to set up another offensive possession. Briady with the ball behind, moving it up top. L'Esperance now carrying, dumps it to Cardin. And another free position opportunity from directly in front of the net.
Yeah, a good little kind of two-woman game between Briody and L'Esperance there, able to create this opportunity. Cardin usually is able to finish these. She's so quick off her first step on the free position, especially in the center hash.
And another low bouncer for the Jumbos will go. Cardin, who had 4 goals and 1 assist versus Wesleyan last Saturday, continues to add to her total of the season.
Yeah, she leads this team in points, scoring pretty much at will against most opponents. That said, she has not yet added a passing dimension to her game. I've said it before on air, but it's definitely the next step for her as she attracts, slides from better defenses and so much attention. Being the star, the center pivot of this Tufts offense, she's going to need to find a way to find those open players that her gravity creates.
Yeah, absolutely. And so far, this Jumbo's offense has looked practically unstoppable. Couple possessions here, 1 in transition, and a couple sort of free position shots, and everything is gone today. This is Walter now, taking the draw. And scooped up by Walter, and the Jumbos look to set up another possession.
Yeah, just a good job using her height there. Like I said, Drowan not the tallest player, out-jumped by Walter.
Briady with it now. Slips, recovers, moves it back up top to Gibbons.
Yeah, so look for Briady to really feed this game. She's the best passer on this Jumbo's attack, leads the team in assists.
L'Esperance, great move, dives inside, and that underhand shot. Wow, these Jumbos are looking very, very solid early on in this first quarter.
Yeah, we're just not seeing any kind of defensive support on the dodges from the midfield by the Saints, and that's just a recipe for disaster for them. You've seen it 4 times already. it's either drawn a shooting space or been an easy finish down low. Right now they're leaving their goaltender Emma Crowley out to dry.
Yeah, and it certainly doesn't help that with the few offensive possessions that the Saints have had, they've ended up with nothing on the scoreboard, and instead quick transition offense for the Jumbos going the other way, and really not a recipe for success in this game.
Not at all. And the second midfield does stay in. Gibbons, Rothstein, Walter taking the draw.
Clean draw scooped up by Rothstein. Rothstein carrying, driving hard to the net, dumps it off, and that shot is saved by Emma Crowley. And Briady will scoop it up behind as the Jumbos look to slow it down and set up their offense.
Yeah, and if you'll excuse me, it looks like 26 Caroline Cromwell is in there instead of Caroline Conahan.
That pass is moved up top by the Jumbos. That's Gibbons with the ball. Rothstein now looks to set up a dodge from the wing.
Yeah, she really likes to sweep across the 8-meter, 12-meter.
Wow, great pass inside. Can't believe she even got a shot off there, and Briady will scoop it up behind, and the Jumbos continue their attack.
That's 2 good passes from Rothstein now. That's really a dimension we haven't seen of her game.
Wow, great feed, great finish by the Jumbos. That was Briady to Carden. You can't write it any better than that. Clean feed from behind, and Carden with the crease dump to make the score 5-0.
Yeah, that's the 12th assist of the year for Briady. She's just, like I said, the best passer on this Tufts attack. Leads the team in assists. This is not a Tufts team that gets a lot of assists, Niles. Their strong suit is more one-on-one dodging, individual efforts. But right there, if they can add elements like that to their game, it's going to help them a lot in the future.
You talked about it briefly, but maybe one of those things that Rothstein adds with that wing dodge is that ability to dump off after her dodge, really opening it up from the wings.
Yeah, we're seeing great coordination between this Tufts midfield and attack. A good cut across the middle, mirroring the dodge, the sweep dodge across from Rothstein, giving her that option to dump inside or try to take it to her right hand and shoot, which is something I haven't really seen in the past from this Jumbos team.
And with about a little under 11 minutes in this first quarter, the score is 5-0, and this Jumbo's second-string midfield continues to get reps, and very clean ones at that.
Yeah, nothing to do really for the Tufts defense besides that play from Becca Gable.
That looks like it's one forward by Drillin, but instead it's scooped up by Ananda Cow, who will carry across the midline. These Jumbos are not afraid to run in transition here.
Yeah, and especially not Cow. Used to be a midfielder, first-line midfielder the year before. Stepped up big to play defense this year.
Briady to Carden. You might think it's a replay, but it is not. That combination was good before, and it continues to be good now. Wow, what a pass, what a finish.
Yeah, they're just carving up this Saints defense right now, and it seems like Emmanuel has simply no answers. Players looking to the bench for some support from the coach. Nothing there. No timeout going to be taken. Either way, Cutter's wide open, and it looks like an attack line is already ready to go in. Claire Wright, Lucy Hodge, Alexa Morosino, and Maddie Charest coming in right now.
And we talked about it a little bit earlier. We knew the Jumbos were going to empty the bench today. Who would have known it would have been with 10 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this first quarter?
Well, it helps when you start on a 6-0 run, doesn't it? As Jenna Gibbons goes to the draw circle now.
And Jenna Gibbons, who's taken her fair share of draws this year with 12 draw controls, looks to get some reps early on in this game.
Yeah, and it looks like Cromwell will now move back to her preferred position of midfield. That said, reps hard to find on this talented Tufts midfield.
Absolutely. And speaking of controlled draws, that will be Gibbons with her 13th. Gibbons driving with her right hand. Looked for the pass inside, nothing there. Ground ball on that far sideline, and that'll be scooped up by the Jumbos.
Yeah, a nice play from Bergen to knock down that pass for the Saints. Unfortunately, she couldn't get any support on the ground ball, and a 2-on-1 ground ball usually goes the way of the team with 2 players.
And this second-string Jumbos attack looking to get their first reps here early on. That'll be Gibbons dodging to her right. Wow, what a shot on the run. Right to right split, had it the whole way, and just puts it far post. You can hear it from here.
Yeah, that's just a power move from Gibbons right there. She wanted her right hand there, and she knew she could get it against the defense. Yeah, and as for this Tufts attack, it's an interesting lineup because they have the graduate student Claire Wright in there, who's normally a starter, getting some rest today. But, so, a real mix of experience and youth. Look for Wright to really lead this offense, tell people where to be, get people to the right spots. as a couple more changes come in for Tufts. Looks like it'll be defensive this time. Ivy Bandari coming in, as well as Kate Wujek and Bella Monteleone. So quickly, the Tufts defense and attack are switched out.
And it certainly feels like this first-string Tufts Jumbos didn't get a whole lot of reps, but they did make them count early on with that stop on the free position as well as the turnover.
Yeah, a 7-0 start for the Jumbos. Possession hasn't been easy to come by for the Saints.
Yeah, and the Saints' offense has really looked stagnant, right? They want those wing dodges, but if you can't beat your one-on-one defender, those dodges can only do so much.
Yeah, and worse, if you can't get the ball, you really can't get anything going.
Yep.
And Jenna Gibbons with another draw control there.
Absolutely. These draws have been killer. Jumbos here looking to set up an offense with now their second-string midfield and second-string attack in. Jumbos feed inside, high to high. Rothstein, we talked about how she could make an impact early on, and wow, has she.
Yeah, she started out the year on the second midfield before getting a few less minutes as the year has gone on. Certainly has in the past seemed like only kind of a one-trick pony. The sweep dodge across with the right hand, very good at it, but somewhat predictable. However, today we're seeing a lot of different things from her. We're seeing the 2 great feeds that unfortunately were not converted, and there, a good cut and goal from Rothstein. So she's definitely making the most of her minutes here, and it seems like she's going to get a lot of them today.
And it's funny, we talked about how the Tufts were struggling to find assists, and it seems that every goal today has been assisted. So call it an announcer's jinx, but this Jumbo's offense has been clicking today.
Yeah, aside from the free positions, they really are passing well. And a lot of credit to the cutters, too. Really making the passes a lot easier.
Gibbons now taking the draw. Wins it backwards. Stumbles. And there is a big ground ball scrum, and that is scooped up by the Saints. That is Shri Muksava.
Yeah, so no call there. Potential push, but Gibbons didn't seem to complain too much about it. This is a big possession for the Saints. They really could use just a shot on goal would be huge for them here.
Absolutely, and that's Bergen, one of the captains with it. Looks for that cutter inside and scooped up by the Jumbos. Reynolds now carrying. Really pushing in transition here. The Jumbos have numbers.
Yeah, these defenders.
And that shot goes wide.
Yeah, as I was saying, these defenders don't get that many opportunities to push in transition with this Tufts team, but they sure are getting them today, taking full advantage.
Hodge looks for that crease cutter, but it is scooped up by the goalie, Crowley.
Yeah, a good cut along the crease by Morosino. Just not able to handle the pass. It's getting a little sloppier for the Jumbos here. But as I say that, the Saints show it as well, throwing it away in the clear.
And this is Cromwell now with the ball directly in front of us, looking to carry into the zone for the Jumbos. Errant pass there, intercepted. Santagili now carrying. Moves it upfield.
Yeah, hit hard by Bandari there. That'll be a foul. No card, though.
Kennedy now moves it across. That's Steele. Steele looking for it. This Jumbo's defense has been all over the field today.
Yeah, and the Saints really struggling against this ride here. Great work from Lucy Hodge there. Nearly creating the turnover. The Saints do finally manage to get into the offensive zone.
Looks like a timeout on the field.
Yeah, so an official's timeout to reset the shot clock. It looks like they're ruling that Tufts did have possession of the ball at one point there. So the Saints do get a full 90 here. Like I said, if the last possession was big, this one's even bigger.
Yeah, they really need some sort of offensive spark here to really slow down the bleeding. The Saints now looking to set up those wing dodges. Passes it out wide. And that defense, wow. That's scooped up by Bandari as she is carrying across the midline. Moves it forward. That's Rothstein. Sorry, I misspoke. That's Charest. And it looks like it'll be Saints ball. So solid defensive opportunity, solid defensive stand there from the Saints. And as I say that, an errant pass scooped up by Gibbons.
Yeah, so defensively, it looks like the Saints have settled in a little bit against these second lines of the Jumbos. But offensively, they're just too sloppy, too many easy turnovers. And if they can't get anything going on offense, it's going to keep pouring for the Jumbos eventually.
And this Jumbo's offense, moving it around the outside, looking to set up these wing dodges that have been working so well early on in the game. Split dodge, left, and that's a save by Crowley. And the Saints set up a clear. So, like you mentioned, solid defensive showing from this Saints defense.
Yeah, and this tough second or I shouldn't say the second midfield. I should say the second attack, really. They've looked a little more unsettled than the starters. That's not a good shot from Cromwell. It just isn't. I mean, going to her left hand, soft shot, plenty of time left on the shot clock. Really needs to pull that one out.
Drillin with the great find inside, but the shot was not there for Kennedy.
Yeah, that's beautiful defense from Wujek. Just all over her. Nothing there for the Saints.
França now wants this wing dodge, but instead moves it along. You can see La Liberty there coming out of the cage, something she does very often and very well.
Yeah, she affects the game in so many ways, not just making saves, but also just picking off those passes.
Drillin, great move, but it will be Jumbo's ball.
Yeah, you know, I'd really like to see the Saints go back to Shermuksavan. She's looked like the only player so far who can beat their one-on-one matchup. Meanwhile, Monteleone in transition.
Dumps it inside. Shot, and that'll be wide. Backed up and picked up by Hodge. Hodge now with it. Looking for cutters inside. Finds one. Great fake. Faked high, went low. That's Amorosino. That is, for any goalie, a tough shot to stop on the doorstep.
Yeah, and it looks like another starter makes play. It'll be Molly La Liberty early on, first quarter. So about 11 minutes of action for the All-American. No goals let up. I'm sure she'll be happy with that. Made one save, I believe. Courtney Kaufman comes in. Good to see her on the field as always. And a few more changes as well at attack. Looks like Mastrobono coming in, as well as Emma Yale.
And from the attack to the goalie, we now see an entirely new Tufts team than the one that entered the field on the starting lineup. And there is 4 minutes and 30 seconds left in this first quarter.
Yeah, so with a 9-0 lead, Tufts really getting a chance to, flex their depth, show off how many different recruits they have. Their freshman class has been absolutely dominant this year. A lot of these players are even sophomores or older, but, they have a different level of depth. They have almost double the number of players that Emmanuel can boast. Speaking of which, here's Antazana winning the draw.
And these draws have been crucial for the Jumbos, who have continued to keep their foot on the gas pedal early on in this quarter. And it'll be a free position for Yale.
Yeah, so they're just pushing in transition. It's getting the defense out of position, and then they're passing off to the wings, drawing shooting space a lot of the time. Yale does a nice job there, starting about 3 meters away.
Yale looked to put it high in that top right corner, but could not get it to go, and it's scooped up by Mastrobuono, who's carrying, right hand. Look at that cutting offense from the Jumbos, really trying to work those wing picks and opening up those cutters inside.
Yeah, and Joyce draws another shooting space there, just blowing by Drillin.
And this is frustrating for a Saints defense who we thought was holding up pretty well.
Yeah, the slides are not coming quickly enough. They're sort of there now.
Wow, great find from Joyce, and Rothstein puts it high and away, but could not get it to go. This Jumbo's offense really trying to work this inside game. Joyce now with it still. Finds a cutter inside. Wow, great finish. Mastro Bruno caught it high and away, tucked it inside of the defender, and then put it up and away from Crowley.
Yeah, Mastro Bruno's the tallest player on this Tufts team by a couple inches. You can see it there. It's an easy finish over the top of Crowley. It helps her in a lot of ways. One is with vision, like seeing the field. You can see her behind, just looking for those cutters. It's very easy for her. And then finishing like that, obviously, much easier when she has all of that frame to work with. Yeah, and as I was saying, the slides are starting to come from the Saints, but they're not coming nearly fast enough, and it's leading to more free positions than anything else. We'll see if they can continue to make that adjustment, making the slides happen from up top as the Jumbos dodge with their midfield.
That looks like Antizana at the draw. Wins it to herself, very clean.
Yeah, it's good to see Antizana out there, the sophomore out of Miami, getting some quality minutes.
Mastro Buono now. The Jumbos look to move it around. They seem to have settled into this very cutter-heavy offense where they look to create the offensive opportunities from the wings, moving it inside for the sort of the dump-ins. That was one of those opportunities, but the Saints defense holds strong, and the Jumbos offense resets. Great split. Nothing there, and this Jumbos offense is being very patient in a very good way. That's right now, moves it up top.
Yeah, we've been seeing Joyce dodge a lot, and she's been doing a good job of it. Here's Rothstein now.
Rothstein, great split to her right hand. Wanted that cutter. Nothing there, moves it behind. No defender there as, wow, what a shot.
Yeah,
right.
That's an easy finish for Clara Wright. She's been here 5 years. If she misses that one, you know something's wrong. Just no one on her. Terrible miscommunication from the Saints defense. And they continue to shoot themselves in the foot. I mean, it's not so much that Tufts has been so executing perfectly on the offensive end, so much as the Saints are just making it easy for them.
Yeah, on that one, right caught it behind and looked up and wondered where her defender went and didn't hesitate at all, turned that corner and dumped it high and tight. Great finish. And with 11 goals here, with about a minute left in this quarter, the Jumbos again set up at the center X.
Yeah, this is just a dream start for the Jumbos. I mean, I'm sure Coach Courtney Shute wouldn't have expected anything less. But I'm sure the players are just ecstatic with this performance. 11-0 in the first quarter is almost unheard of. We're already in running time.
Wujak with the clean ground ball, and she is fast across this midline, and the Jumbos, again, have numbers.
Yeah, and Wujak goes right by the defender right there and draws a shooting space for herself. So this will be a rare chance for Kate Wujak, number 6, to get on the board here.
And you can see this Jumbo sideline. They want it for her more than she does. Wujak now drives to the cage, bouncer, and that is in. Wujak with the clear, the carry, the free position shot, and the finish.
Yeah, that's a tough one for Crowley. I mean, it just somehow finds a way to sneak between her legs. And it's 12-0 now as the first quarter expires. As I said, we're in running time with Tufts leading by more than 10. And if the Jumbos have their way, it'll certainly stay that way for the rest of the game.
That effort from Wujak was very impressive. A tricky ground ball right at that restraining line, and she did not hesitate at all once it was in her stick. She carried, and I mean, those are the goals that hurt you, right? This Saints defense, we thought they were holding strong against a very tricky Jumbos offense, but then next thing you know, I mean, these offensive possessions add up.
Yeah, and Wujak there actually getting the first goal of her career as well. So that's a big one for number 6. The Jumbos up 12. I mean, I'm going to think about what the Saints can do here to try to get back in this one. Number 1, they're definitely going to need to find some possession.
Yeah, and it looks like that was no goal, so Wujak's first possession is taken off the board, unfortunately, but the way this game is going, I wouldn't expect if she had a couple more of those.
Yeah, I spoke a little too soon. Looks like the stick check was not passed by Wujak, so that'll also create a penalty on the Jumbos. We've seen that a couple times so far this season, including in the season opener with Margie Carden getting one chalked off against Colby. It's definitely just something, a little bit of a rarer thing to see in women's lacrosse, but something that the Jumbos will want to get a hold of because you never want to see a goal come back. I know it's 11-0 right now, but in more important situations, that's a big call.
Yeah, an unlucky break there for the Jumbos, but the score 11-0. What do you think the Jumbos can do better in the second quarter? I mean, they seem to be doing everything right, but
Yeah, so obviously with their second midfield, second defense, second attack, and maybe even third at this point, they're going to want to focus on just execution, clean passing. We've seen a couple passes go astray already, and the level of crispness between the first attack and third, it's just not the same right now. Obviously, it helps to get more game reps, but that's exactly what these situations are for. They're really going to want to clean up their passing, make sure they make no stupid turnovers, no bad shots, make sure they get the best shot available every possession.
and if you're the Saints here, what does it take to turn it around? I mean, obviously this score has gone a little bit out of hand, but it's all about winning one quarter at a time. What do you think the Saints can do here in the second quarter?
Yeah, so defensively, they've improved. They definitely need to get their slides there faster. They're giving away too many free positions, too much shooting space. And then hope that Emma Crowley can make a couple big saves. She needs to rob a few if they're going to get back in this. And then on offense, they've been patient, but they just need something to happen. A moment of brilliance, maybe. As I said before, number 11, Shamrook Savan, has looked capable of beating her one-on-one matchup, drawn slides from the Tufts defense. Both times she's dodged now. So it looks like she might be a player they have to go to more if they want to get back in this one or even just get on the board, which I'm sure they'll be desperate to do.
And França, who had, until this game, back-to-back 7-goal games, has been very quiet today against the Jumbos defense.
Yeah, she has. We've seen her operating up top a little bit. I mean, she has a very tough matchup. It was Becca Gable to start out. Now it's Mary Grace Reynolds, who looks like is no longer in the game. Never mind, here she comes. So the only starter still in the game, Mary Grace Reynolds. Very solid player for the Jumbos all season.
And interesting, sorry, I hate to interrupt you, but it looks like they've moved França to this sort of midfield position. Early on, she sort of played that more attack role in this game, but it looks like they're going to try to get her into the offense this way.
Yeah, the Saints do have a variety of versatile players who can play attack, midfield, players who can play defense and midfield. We'll see what she can get done. She was operating from up top before anyways. We'll see what happens now.
And Drillin, with a big draw into the second quarter, swarmed by the Jumbos, moves it to França. França wants her right hand, but it's not there. And the Saints offense here. Let's see what they can do in this second quarter after that short break.
Yeah.
And this Jumbos defense swarming every dodge that seems to come to that center of the field. França in the middle of that, cannot scoop it up. It's picked up by Antizana.
Yeah, and that's what the Saints need to cut out. They can't turn the ball over easily like that.
The Jumbos move it ahead, the ball behind. This Jumbos offense settles in. Rothstein looks to set a screen. And like you said, just second string, yeah.
Just a little bit of bobbles. You know, that's uncharacteristic from Claire Wright, but they just don't look quite as crisp as we're used to seeing the Tufts offense look. And given the Tufts offense hasn't looked all that crisp this year.
Great feed, great cut, and that is Yale putting it into the goal. And this Jumbos offense, I mean, it's hard to overstate the impact that this cutting has brought, the sort of dynamic offense that we're seeing on the field today. I mean, these cutters are, granted, against the Saints offense that's looked Saints defense that's looked quite shaky, but I mean, it's been very impressive.
Yeah, it's definitely something that they're looking to add to their game because, as I said before, not an assist-heavy team. They rely really heavily on the dodging of Anna Clark, Catherine Delaney, Madeline Delaney, Gibbons, Conahan, and Cardin on attack, obviously. If they can add plays like this to their arsenal, passes coming from players like Claire Wright, players like Briotti, it'll be huge for them going into the postseason. And that looks to be a tough postseason this year, much tougher than last year.
And if you're Coach Shute, you got to be really happy with the way this offense has looked today.
Yeah, and I'm sure she is. She's definitely a very demanding coach. She expects the most, expects perfection out of her players, regardless of what line they're playing in.
Antizana has been very solid at this draw. Moves it forward to Rothstein. Rothstein with the inner right hand, moves it across the top.
Yeah, there's another bobble. You know, Coach Shute will want them to cut that out.
Yep, at this point in the game, it's all about the little things, and the Jumbos look to get that right in the second quarter.
Exactly.
Jumbos now moving it around. Really picking and choosing their opportunities now. And with Rothstein cutting across, this looks to be the one.
Yeah, Joyce to her right hand. Nothing there yet.
Jumbo's now clearing out that top. Yale again. Moving it to the wing.
See, this is what I'm talking about when I refer to like the patience, doing everything right, finding the best shot available. Against a defense like this, that's what they're going to want to do because obviously they could score pretty much at will, but that's not necessarily what they want to see like on an individual dodge.
And they really want that great cut, great finish. Joyce.
Yeah, that's just, it goes exactly with what I was saying. You know, we see a great job from Antasana there. Yeah, Antasana with a great pass there, finding the cutter. Once again, we've seen that cut from the left wing of the Jumbos into the 8-meter. And the Jumbos have been able to find it all day as Amorosino and Charest come back in. Looks like Claire Wright might be done for the day. Yeah, so the attack changing out again for the Jumbos. But just great patience. You know, they didn't force anything on that possession, and they found a really good look in front. That's going to make the coach happy.
Absolutely, and great minutes from that second string offense, some of whom are still in, but some of whom who have probably exited the game for good. And the Jumbos here, 13-0 with running clock, 10 minutes and about 40 seconds left in the second quarter.
Yeah, and so once again, we saw it a little bit earlier with Chicago coming in earlier in the season to play the Jumbos, getting blown out, but a ton to take away from that game for them. And I think it'll be a similar situation for the Saints, right? In program history, this is honestly perhaps the best opponent they've ever played. And so although, you know, this is obviously not going how they would want it to, it's going to be a huge experience for them in just playing against really good competition.
Absolutely, and Drill in there with a great draw. Look to move it in transition. Swarmed by the Jumbos, splits two defenders. Great move. And an errant pass, scooped up by the captain, Ali Bergen. Bergen now looking to back down her defender.
Yeah, Jenna Gibbons not exactly known for her one-on-one defense, but that's just fantastic from her. I mean, every midfielder has to be able to play defense in women's lacrosse, and this second line is just as capable as the first.
Great defense from Wujak, with help on that ground ball by Fernando Pouillet.
Yeah, and Fernando Pouillet just knocks that pass down and is able to come up with it after the minor foul. So, stifling defense from Tufts. I mean, just absolutely dominant.
Great pass ahead to Charest. And this Jumbo's defense comes up strong again.
Yeah, and it looks like the Jumbos are more or less done running in transition. They're going to slow everything down, get it into a settled offense, really look to get those good reps in, passing around, finding good cuts in the middle.
Great move. Moves it behind.
Yeah, could have been a shooting space there. I'm interested by that call. Player standing almost right in front of the cage. But Cromwell didn't really fake the shot.
Jumbo's now. Offense a little bit more stagnant than we've seen in the last couple possessions, but
yeah, at this point for the Jumbos, it's just about improving. It's about getting better. So they're going to look for those. They're going to slow down the possessions, look for those cutters. And as you said, yeah, a little more stagnant, but I expect to see the cuts coming eventually.
Jumbo's now move the ball up top. Gibbons with it now. Moves it across. Cromwell. That ball is almost intercepted. Back to Cromwell, looking to set up a dodge. Wants her right hand, double teamed by the Saints.
Yeah, and a tough call against the Saints there. Kind of minimal contact on Cromwell, but she will get the free position, so a good opportunity for her.
Cromwell now looking to add to this Jumbo's lead. Moves it across the crease, and that's a great look. Unselfish play there from Cromwell.
Yeah, it's the second time we've seen that pass off the free position. Rothstein missed high the first, but both times it's created a really good opportunity. Nice and patient. As you said, unselfish. Charest with the goal there. Just well done from the Jumbos. And they now lead 14-0.
And, I mean, this Jumbo's offense has been unselfish, has been patient. I mean, if you're Coach Shute, it is, I mean, you're very pleased with the way this offense has looked so far.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like a couple changes for Emmanuel as well.
And after a little adjustment to the clock, we will be back at the center circle. 7 minutes left in the second quarter. Jumbos lead 14-0. Drillin now against Antizana. Drillin has had her fair share of matchups at this draw today.
Yeah, and she came into the game with 65 draw controls on the season. Has probably added 3 or 4 more already. Definitely a bright spot for this Saints team.
Ground ball in the center. And it will be Jumbo's ball, scooped up by Antizana. Antizana moves it ahead. Jumbo's here. Moving the ball behind. Ball up top now.
Yeah, call coming out from the sideline.
Gibbons moving it across the top. Looks like they're bearing defenders on that right wing and setting up a dodge up top.
Yeah, so they clear out the right side. Cromwell gets nearly wide open. Elects once again not to take the shot or go for the shooting space. Interesting decision from Cromwell there. They really cleared out that right side for her. She swept across and got wide open, but opted not to take the shot.
Yeah, from our angle, it looked like it was just Cromwell and the goalie here on this right side, but like you said, moving it behind. And this Jumbo's offense continues to really cycle this ball cleanly.
Yeah, it's interesting choosing possession over a possible goal. I mean, I know there's 40 on the shot clock, but that's about as good a look as you can ask for.
Gibbons now carrying behind. Jumbo's offense still looking for those cutters.
Yeah, and they're cycling all sorts of players up to the top. Charest this time.
Charest wanted to split it, moves it behind. Great defense from the Saints here against a Jumbo's team that has been patient, and right as I say that, that is Cromwell putting it low and away on the run.
Yeah, so with only 5 left on the shot clock, they do eventually find it. A good pass there from Yale, and Cromwell does get the goal. So passed up a good opportunity early on for an even better opportunity later in the possession. Gets the goal as a reward. The Jumbos really just showing off. Now they're looking a lot more crisp, passing the ball better. They've cut out those little bobbles and drops.
Yeah, and Emma Crowley, the goalie for the Saints, has been pretty solid all season with about a 49% save percentage, but today has really struggled against these shots.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't help that the majority of them are coming from 4 meters and in. But, yeah, she just can't buy one right now. I mean, it's a tough situation, kind of a nightmare situation for any goalie. I mean, not much support from the defense, wide open shooters pretty much everywhere you look. But, yeah, a save would do a lot for her confidence. But that draw control isn't going to help.
Certainly not, as that is scooped up by Cromwell, carrying it down the left side of the field. The Jumbos move the ball behind. Out on the wing to Charest. Gibbons now. Looking to set up her dodge. Splits to her left.
Yeah, I think the midfield dodging is interesting because it seems like all the players on the midfield right now strongly prefer their right hand. We haven't really seen anyone get anything going to the left side. I don't know whether that will be a point of emphasis or not for the coaching staff, but it's something that would help a lot of these players.
And this Jumbo's offense looks like they're basically slowing it down until there's about 45 seconds left on the shot clock before they're really starting their offense.
Yeah, definitely taking their time. I mean, they have all the time in the world, so.
And as the Jumbo's bench screams 30, Antizana now look to feed inside, scooped up.
Yeah, that's the first errant pass we've seen in a while. Charest with a strong dodge there, good face dodge.
And the Jumbos here look to capitalize on an opportunity.
Yeah, so we're really seeing a massive change in the Tufts offense from what we usually see. I'll say more about it after this free position shot from Charest. But they're really looking for passing offense, motion offense.
And the Jumbos, who have loved that cross-crease pass, but that time it is not there, but backed up. Antizana now with it up top.
Yeah, only 9 on the shot clock now, so they put themselves in this position.
Great find inside, and that will be a save by Crowley, who is it is at her feet, almost kicked into the goal, but
My goodness, I said goalie's nightmare earlier. That would have been a goalie's nightmare. Couldn't find the ball, nearly kicked it in. Stopped by the post. So a lucky break for Crowley, but they immediately turn it over, so it's going to be another 90. And based off the way Tufts have been playing so far, there's going to be another 90 coming off the clock.
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you can see it out there. The Jumbo's offense has really just come down to cycling it until there's about 45 seconds left on that shot clock, and then moving it behind, as we see there. I mean, Cromwell seemed to have another free opportunity to go to the net, but elects instead to move it behind.
Yeah, that was a nice check there by number 20, Brown, I believe.
Yep, that would be Abby Brown, the freshman.
Yeah, so just a little bit too lackadaisical on the dodge from Cromwell. I'm not sure I love how stagnant and how kind of just walk through this Tufts offense has become. I mean, I know they're up by, what are they up by, 15 now, but, you know, that doesn't mean they shouldn't be taking it full game speed.
Antizana splits. Crowley does a good job of coming off her line there and stopping her before a shot was taken.
Yeah, it looked like Hodge had a wide open opportunity there, chose not to let it go, so once again, Tufts really patient with it.
That's really the first time we've seen Crowley be active off her crease, off her line like that, and that time it paid off. Antizana forces a pass to the crease.
Yeah, you said it right. That's the second time now we've kind of seen Antizana force that pass inside. Yeah, and so the shot clock down to 15 again.
Oh, that looked like a great opportunity there for Hodge, but it's scooped up by Crowley.
Yeah, that's another nice check. Someone got a stick on it. Might have been Delaney Brown again, but they got to stick to Hodge as she tried to shoot. But once again, Emmanuel just turns it over in the clear. So, you know, with 16 seconds left, Tufts will have to go fast for once.
Going fast, tries to carry through traffic. Nothing there. Amorosino takes a shot, stopped by Crowley. And that is a tough shot to stop, as it is a high bouncer that Crowley seemed to look at it as it went over her, and that's a tough goal for the Saints as we go into the second half here.
Yeah, so first half runs out, excuse me. It'll be 16-0 to the Jumbos. Like you said, tough one for Crowley. It's just been absolute dominance from the Jumbos with more or less their third stringers in. We'll be back for the second half, see what Saints and the Jumbos can continue to do here at Mello.
sing underwater world. I'm gonna sing down under the water. Underwater world. I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna sing underwater world. I'm gonna sing down under the water. Underwater world. I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna sing underwater world. I'm gonna sing down under the water. Underwater world. I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna sing underwater world. I'm gonna sing down under the water. Underwater world. I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna sing underwater world. I'm gonna sing down under the water. Underwater world. I'm gonna sing and I'm gonna sing.
Talk about the record till we're close, though. You don't want to jinx it.
It's crazy. D3 is just so big.
It's so top heavy. It's crazy.
I want to see
Like, dude, if you had just watched this game, how in the world would you guess that this chick has 53 goals this season?
I know.
53.
Yeah, Middlebury's
She's barely even touched the ball.
They have Hamilton and Bowden. I'm gonna go.
Please, please, please. I want to be part of history, please, please.
The whole stack is pretty solid this year, with the exception of like Bates. It's not great either. It was. Yeah, because wrestling was ranked 10 at the time. Or actually, no, wrestling was ranked above us at the time, I think.
So, but yeah, if you need to do whatever, like in terms of looking up stats, I can just talk. Like, I can just do like
I think I'm good.
play stuff. If you want to look up some color. Sam, can you let us know when we're on? Can you let us know when we're on?
Hey, fellas, 3, 2, 1, you're on.
Welcome back to Bellow Field. The score is Tufts 16, Emmanuel 0 as we enter the third quarter here. The Jumbos look to have the same sort of lineup that we had going into halftime with the second string midfielders on, second string defenders on. We have Courtney Kaufman in the goal. And it looks to be about the same from Emmanuel as we have Drillin taking the draw. Wins it out in front cleanly. And Drillin, who's been really solid all year, has had a couple successful draws, but the Saints can't seem to capitalize on those opportunities.
Yeah, an unfortunate turnover there for Drillin. And here comes Bendari in transition. Looks like Tufts might be back to running. Bendari has the middle of the field wide open.
Bendari moves it across. And like you said, Bendari looked like she was shot out of a cannon there crossing the midline.
Yeah, these defenders, like I said before, they don't get many opportunities to run in transition. And these second string defenders definitely don't.
And going into halftime, that Jumbo's offense looked a little bit stagnant, but much better now as there's a lot more movement through that crease. And the Jumbos look to open up this right side for Rothstein, but instead dumps it off. Errant pass, but scooped up by Joyce. Joyce now with her right hand. Jumbos move it behind.
Yeah, so I was going to say, off those initial 20 seconds, we were seeing more energy from the Jumbos as they throw that one away right there. But Monteleone is able to come up with it. But, you know, as that possession went on, they really kind of slowed it down again, got kind of stagnant. Monteleone turns it over, didn't realize that Rothstein had checked back over the offense, out of the offensive zone. Could have carried it over herself, but chose not to.
França now with some pace down this right sideline. Let's see if she can get her offensive opportunities to sort of let's see if she can create a spark in this Saints offense.
Yeah, they're going to need one big time. It would be huge for them to just get on the board in this game. Tufts defense obviously would like that not to happen. Shutout probably a little more impressive than putting up 20 goals or so. But, you know, we know who their go-tos are. França's been able to find absolutely nothing so far.
Hogan now with it up top. Great on-ball defense, but it will be called.
Yeah, in a closer game, that one might not get called. Fernando Pule there on the foul. But in this kind of situation, you know, cross-check like that does not go Tufts' way.
Hogan now dumps it to Steele. Steele with it in her left hand. Tries to force a pass. It makes its way. And this Saints offense has just really struggled to sort of create any sort of separation from this Jumbo's defense.
Yeah, so I think one of their main issues has been just unable to beat a matchup one-on-one. But besides that, just their passing hasn't been crisp enough. You see it there. Try to force inside, and they're going to turn it over. Because the Jumbos never have to slide, it's just not creating any movement in the Tufts defense, and they're not finding anything there.
Great pass from Kaufman up ahead. It's Monteleone with it now, carrying. Sort of showed that she wanted to go to goal there, but instead dumps it off. And this Jumbo's offense looks to cycle the ball once again.
Yeah, so this is the Jumbos. It's their third to last game of the season. They have Hamilton and Bowdoin up next. Two big NESCAC matchups, which are going to be big for the NESCAC standings. They can't really afford to drop one of them, but they definitely cannot afford to drop both of them. They sit at 5-3 in the NESCAC right now in third place. The NESCAC has been really strong this year. Middlebury's returned and is 13-0, the number one ranked team in the nation. Meanwhile, Colby has also been absolutely dominant. They're 7-1 in conference. They've already beaten Tufts this year, and they also beat Salisbury, last year's champion. So the NESCAC certainly in a very strong position, and Tufts find themselves in third, which is not exactly where they would have hoped to be after the final, the NCAA championship run last year, as the Jumbos nearly turn it over.
And indeed they do, and it will be Saints ball as they look to clear. And yeah, you have to imagine that for Coach Shute, it must be almost a relief before going into this final stretch of the season to be able to rest most of her starters today.
Yeah, definitely.
The Saints here, again, they've struggled to clear sort of throughout this game, and as I say that, the Jumbos swarm to the ball. Steele with it now, moves it across the midline, and the Saints here with about 60 seconds on the shot clock still have not entered the zone.
Yeah, so, and then go back to the Saints a little bit, right? This is obviously a learning experience for pretty much everyone on the field at this point. It's really good competition for perhaps the first time in their careers. And this season, they've seemed to take a little bit of a step back in the GNAC conference. The year before, they had beaten Johnson and Wales before losing to them in the conference tournament later on. This year, they lost 16-6 to them. But either way, you know, there'll be a lot to take away from this game, obviously. A lot to learn from it as they hope to make the NCAA tournament this year. But the focus really is on the Jumbos in this one. Showing off the depth right now, but they're going to need every ounce of it against, you know, Hamilton and Bowdoin, two good teams.
Rothstein splitting to her left. The Jumbos offense, again, very patient, looking for those sort of quality opportunities, those high percentage shots up close, really making the day difficult for Crowley.
Yeah, it's definitely been a tough one for her. One she'll probably want to forget about as immediately as she can. Yeah, once again, very stagnant from the Jumbos, really letting it slow down.
For a game like this, like we talked about earlier, I mean, putting that emphasis on the stick skills, on making sure you're running those lines correctly, everything's going perfectly. I mean, at this stage in the game, it's really about execution more so than the final product. And as we say that opportunity opens up Joyce to Rothstein.
Yeah, and that's a good thing for the coaches, for the team in general. One, it's good to see Rothstein, a player who does play a little more in bigger games, to really get things going today. But also just great patience. Like, we didn't really see that at the end of the first half. They would have great patience, but then they would get down to 10 seconds on the shot clock and just be rushed. That time, they take their opportunity a little bit earlier, and I like to see that. You know, they should still be playing hard regardless of the score line, still playing to score and to win. And there, you definitely see a good example of that. It looks like Master Bono, 6'2", is going to take the draw control. Or excuse me, take the draw. The Jumbos have experimented with a variety of different players in the circle. It's mainly been Catherine Delaney, but when Colette Smith was healthy, we also did see her. But Drillin is able to get that one.
And Drillin immediately swarmed and sort of forces that errant pass, scooped up by Fernando Pouillet. Great pass up ahead. Scooped up by the Jumbos at the midline. And with the score 17-0, the Jumbos set up another offensive possession here, moving the ball around the back. Amorosino moving the ball up top. Rothstein with it again. Rothstein clears out, opening up that left alley. Ball behind now. And the Jumbos, you can see the sort of the way they're clearing out these sides, really letting these Dodgers up top take advantage of these one-on-one matchups.
Yeah, and this is something they do with their first midfield a lot too. Like the play from Gibbons right here, moving in, splitting to her left. That's something you could see Anna Clark do, Catherine Delaney. It's definitely some more, we're looking at right now, sort of a more similar to their first string offense, you know, with dodging from the midfield, looking for passes or shots inside. Here's Cromwell.
Rothstein has been open all day on the crease, and that time she puts it a little bit high and wide, but I mean, she's been very active, and when you have Dodgers who are dodging with their head up, it allows for those opportunities to open up, but Crowley scoops that one up, and the Saints look to clear.
Yeah, that's a good opportunity there. Quick stick from Cromwell. Not quite able to put it away. We've seen Rothstein miss a couple easy ones that she'll surely want back, but as you said, very active. Here she is now on defense. Gets called for the foul. Bit of a tough call there.
Great solo effort from Bourdois there, carrying from basically her arc all the way and settling it in the zone.
Yeah, and back to the NESCAC. You know, Tufts in third. Definitely not the place they would have wanted to find themselves in at this stage in the season, but they do have two more opportunities to take their record to 7-3. I can't really foresee them passing either Colby or Middlebury in the standings, especially with how well Colby's played this season. It's impossible for them to pass Middlebury at this point. But Colby would have to lose in one of their remaining games, and I just don't see that happening. So at the moment, Tufts likely to occupy the 3rd seed as long as they can take care of business against Hamilton and Bowdoin, who are also 2 solid teams as they turn it over now. But as things stand currently, they would play one of Trinity, Connecticut, Hamilton, or Amherst in the postseason tournament. But all 3 of those teams sit at 4-4. So it'll be big to find out who they play.
This Jumbo's offense, back at it again, setting up their offense. Mastrobuono moves the ball and then buries her defender, looking to open up the dodge from up top. Splits, right to left. Like you said, this second string midfield really getting those, running basically the first string offense is definitely something the coaches are going to be looking for as those players sort of later in the season. You'll need that depth at those positions.
Yeah, and a lot of the players who are in do get quality minutes in close games. Gibbons, for instance, right here, could have drawn the shooting space there, maybe. Doesn't get the call from the referees. I guess that's a tougher ask when you're up 17-0, but either way, as I was saying, Gibbons gets a lot of quality time in the games. She's the main one out there right now. But a lot of these players do get in moments. Cromwell as well, Mastrobuono we've seen. And it's important for them to get these reps at full speed in a game because it's just not, it's not the same, regardless of who you're playing, it's not the same as practice.
And with 3 seconds left on the shot clock here, the Jumbos need to force a pass inside. And perhaps a frustrating possession for the Jumbos in the sense that they didn't get a shot off, like the offense didn't capitalize on sort of a couple of those free opportunities that we saw. But, I mean, this second string has been patient in a great way in the second half.
Yeah, successful clear there for the Saints, which is big for them. Shamrook Savan has looked athletic and fast in the middle of the field. Definitely able to get that clear there. But we'll see if they can get anything going on offense.
Bergen looked to turn the corner there, but it was a foul committed on her, and it will stay with the Saints as she'll get one of the better opportunities the Saints have had in the second half as she has a free position on this right wing.
Yeah, and Kaufman's had nothing to do. Could have taken a nap between the pipes if she wanted to. But she will be tested here potentially. But it is passed out.
That's the first real shot that Kaufman has seen, and she stuffs that one.
Yeah, I mean, Kaufman obviously doesn't get that many opportunities to shine, especially when she plays behind the All-American, first-team All-American Molly Liberty, best goalie in the nation, at least in my opinion, and many others. But she's more than capable herself. Makes a good save there, and that's not a good enough shot to beat her, or most goalies at this level. And it's really a credit to the Tufts defense, who have been able to shut down those opportunities, force bad shots.
Rothstein, we've seen this all night, carrying with her right hand. Ball behind now. Let's see what the Jumbo's offense has in store here. Rothstein out there directing traffic. Gibbons within her left hand, looking to split to her right. She does. Rothstein wanted it on the crease, but the look wasn't there. Back to Rothstein now. Hodge distributing it up top. Back to Hodge. Looks to set up her dodge. That deep sideline. Scooped up by Kaufman at the end line. As the Jumbos begin their clear. Kaufman walking it up into that back corner. Has Wujak near the box. Finds her. We saw this pace from Wujak earlier. She easily clears it. Soaks that contact right about the restraining box and moves it behind. Great solo effort from Wujak there. Last time we saw her carry up this left sideline, she got a free position and almost got a goal. Unfortunately, that one was turned back. Great shot there. Unfortunately, it goes wide. Scooped up at the end line by Carolyn Cromwell.
Yeah, the Jumbos will want to get a good possession here. I mean, obviously, it doesn't matter too much in the grand scheme of the game, but after 2 turnovers in a row, and there's a good possession right there from Charest. After 2 turnovers in a row, that's exactly what they needed. Charest with a good shot, good dodge. Definitely a little more urgency you see there.
Jumbo goes for number 34, Manny Charles.
Yeah, and returning to the national, postseason picture, it's going to be interesting what we see later on in the rounds of the NCAA tournament. As I've said, the NESCAC looking very strong this year. They have Middlebury sitting at number 1, undefeated, top of the polls for several weeks now. Colby at number 4, having beaten teams above them like Salisbury. Tufts in the top 10. Wesley and Hamilton and Bowdoin and Trinity and Amherst all ranked. Really the top 6 of the NESCAC, all potential contenders to at least reach, the quarterfinals of the NCAA tournament. It's going to be an exciting postseason this year as teams like Middlebury really return to the kind of dominance they experienced in 2019 before the pandemic hit and shut them down. But Tufts really does need to take care of business against Hamilton and Bowdoin. 2 good teams, as I said, both ranked nationally. If they're going to succeed in this NESCAC tournament, because they're going to want as high a seed as possible.
And games like this are a great confidence booster for this Jumbo's roster. When you have second stringers, especially, we've said her name a lot today, but when you have players like Sammy Rothstein who are coming off the bench and making an immediate impact on that offensive side of the field, that's got to make you feel good if you're a Coach Shute.
Yeah, and it also helps that, everyone gets a little bit of rest. They're important players mainly, get to rest this one out. But we've seen, against Wesleyan, a huge win picked up over the weekend, 16-11 against Wesleyan, to put them in 3rd in the NESCAC, really take control of that position.
And as we go into this 4th quarter, we're getting a first look at Pascal DeBuren, the freshman who has now entered the game. She'll be in the pipes for the first time in this game.
Yeah, so Coffin makes a save, Liberty makes a save, and DeBuren will get a chance to do the same here in the 4th quarter. Yeah, so number one, Pascal DeBuren coming in for Tufts.
Number 31, Pascal DeBuren.
Again, we've seen this matchup for much of the night, but we have Antizana at the draw, joined by Drillin. Drillin, the freshman, is leading her team in draws. Has struggled a bit tonight, but in this second half has pretty much traded draws with whoever the Jumbos are throwing at her.
Yeah, she's had to do a bunch of work tonight. I don't envy it. It's not the warmest day. Ton of running in the midfield, and obviously not very much depth on this Emmanuel bench. So Drillin's taken all the draws for the Saints today, as they do turn it over, however. So the Saints will get an opportunity to get possession here.
Yeah, great effort by the 2 Jumbos players trying to hunt that ball down in the corner, but the Saints do come up with it. Here's Drillin again with it.
Yeah, and we're seeing a little bit of the sloppiness just sneak back into the Jumbos play here in the towards the end of the 3rd, and here beginning in the 4th.
Hodge with it now, moving it behind, and this Jumbo's offense again settling into this patient style that we've seen from this second string today. Rothstein with it now up top. The Jumbos look to cycle this ball.
Yeah, so the Jumbo's back at it, moving the ball around again. Not really looking to make anything happen yet with 50 seconds left on the shot clock.
And with about 50 seconds on that shot clock, the Jumbo's midfields bury their defenders. Rothstein with it now, looking to initiate the offense from behind. Ball back up top. That's Charest with it. Charest moving it to Cromwell. This offense is suddenly very stagnant with about 13 and a half minutes left in this 4th quarter. Rothstein trying to change that, splits to her right, drives to the goal, Thought she had an opportunity there, but instead elects to dump it to the crease.
Yeah, we saw it a little bit earlier with Cromwell. We see it again with Rothstein there. Able to beat their player, their matchup, to the right, choosing not to take a slightly lower angle shot. But honestly, I would much prefer that shot from Rothstein to what ends up happening, which is a turnover after a forced pass into the crease, which is forced because they've let the shot clock run all the way down to 10 seconds, and they don't really have much of another choice. So, you know, I've said it, I sound like a broken record a bit, but really they do have to continue playing at game speed. Like, they can't just completely take their foot off the gas because you need to get into good habits, right? And that's what this is all about, right? And right now the Jumbos are slipping into bad habits, like forcing passes to the crease, not taking open opportunities.
Tufts 36. No ground ball.
Mastrobuono there snatched the ball out of the air, entered the zone by herself, waiting for her teammates, moving the ball behind now.
Yeah, it's the second time Mastrobuono's created a turnover in the ride. Definitely an advantage there. She's showing good tenacity on the defensive end as well as on the offensive end.
And again, this Jumbo's offense looks very content to just move the ball around until that shot clock hits 50, and right on the dot we see a dodge. Good effort there, but that pass slipped by, backed up by Rothstein. Rothstein moving the ball back up top to Cromwell. A lot of walking from this Jumbo's offense, but you have to wonder how much of it is at their coach's request versus their own volition.
Yeah, definitely. It clearly isn't a priority for them to try to score with any kind of urgency. But that said, you know, everyone likes to get their name on the score sheet. Here's Cromwell up top.
Yeah, Cromwell carrying with the right hand, dumps it to the crease. Mastrobuono thought she had an opportunity there, but swarmed by that Saints defense. Re-dodges, great move, and
Foul. Emmanuel.
Yeah,
like
just wide for Mastrobuono. I think she did draw a shooting space.
yeah, great re-dodge there from her.
Yeah.
Drew the slide, backed it up, and then re-attacked.
Yeah, just leaving the defenders in the dust with a beautiful face dodge. And she does get the shooting space, center hash. She lets it fly.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness.
What a rip from Mastrobuono, and great stop by Crowley.
Yeah, so new this year, that'll reset the shot clock to 60 as opposed to the full 90. Right off the chest of Crowley. A lot of velocity on that one.
Yeah, Crowley really soaking that one. Rothstein now with it. Dodges to her right. Splits back to her left. Great check. Puts the ball on the ground.
Yeah, and a good move back to her left from Rothstein there. That's definitely, it's a dimension she hasn't really added to her game yet. But if she can, she'll be a very dangerous dodger because she is a good athlete. Very explosive athlete, fast and strong.
And the Jumbos now with about 20 seconds left on the shot clock, looking to set up a play from this left wing. Antizana still has it. Tries to feed Rothstein inside. The pass isn't there, and it goes out the back. Scooped up by the Saints.
Just another kind of forced pass from the Jumbos. You know, it does seem to be at least partially a product of letting the shot clock run all the way down. As I said, an unforced turnover from the Saints. They've just been absolutely killing themselves with those all night long.
Yeah, and as good as this Saints offense has been, when you're stuck on, as good as this Saints defense has been, my mistake, it's tough when you're stuck on defense the whole night.
Yeah.
Defense can only be so good against an offense like this before it has to crack.
Yeah, and it's hard to even say anything about the Saints offense because they've touched the ball, you know, a number of times that I can count on my fingers. It's just not the kind of day you would want for your offense. It's great for the defensive reps, right? They get this great experience against really good players. Good experience for Crowley, the goalie. But for the offense, you know, a lot of standing around.
Yeah, and you really wish players like França on the Saints had gotten involved early, maybe put a couple more shots on the goal. But really just a tough outing for the Saints offense.
Yeah, it certainly was. They didn't get... Well, a good pass inside to Mastrobuono. It did get tipped away, but I think a shooting space was called.
Yeah, that looks to be the call on the field, and she'll have another opportunity from a similar spot, maybe a little bit farther right. Let's see how Crowley stands up to this shot again.
Yeah, it seems like Mastrobuono might just let it fly again. Nope, she'll let the pass down behind.
Instead moves it behind.
So 30 left on the shot clock, and the Jumbos look to get something going again. Half-heartedly, though.
Ball up top to Hodge. This Jumbo's bench echoing the the time left on the shot clock as Mastrobuono dodges with about 20 seconds left. Splits to her left. Great roll. Inside, tries to put it in her right hand, but that ball pops out with 15 seconds left on the shot clock. This Jumbo's offense, wow. A lot of contact there, but
Yeah, heavy contact there. Charest goes down hard. Looks like the card will not come out. I think in a closer game it certainly would have, but rather inconsequential at this point. But regardless of the results of, and there's a goal for the Jumbos.
and that one's got to feel good after a couple of empty possessions. Charest to Hodge. Not a whole lot to do there if you're the Saints defense, but
Not at all. A nice play from Charest off the free position. But as I was saying, regardless of the result of the past 3 or 4 possessions for Mastrobuono, I really like the energy she's bringing to this team. Right? She looks the part, is what I'll say. A good dodger, right? Tall, able to finish well, good vision. And she's looked explosive on the past few possessions. She hasn't been able to get it in the back of the net on those past few, but really able to do good things. 2 great dodges we saw, right? The ability to go to her right and roll back to her left hand before getting inside, creating good opportunities for the offense. That's something we had not seen from just about anyone on the field for the Jumbo's offense so far, throughout the past 3 quarters since they took out the starters, right? But they're able to, the first time, the face dodge, beautiful face dodge from outside, draws a free position. Second time, she has the counter to it, roll back to her left hand, gets a good opportunity inside. She's going to be good in the future for this team.
absolutely. And back at this center circle, this matchup we've been watching all night, Antizana against Drillin. And this time, it will be Antizana and the Jumbos who win this one. Sort of a frustrating night for Drillin. Normally, I believe she's used to making sort of a big impact on the field with her draws, but tonight has been quite the challenge. Great move in transition, and that will be Charest to Cromwell, a combination that we've seen a lot in this second string. And that one leads to an easy dump in after a crease cut.
Yeah, there's a little more of that urgency from Tufts, It is 20-0, but I really like to see them take that wide open opportunity. They keep the defense honest, right? We're still playing a game here, and it's important that they get those kinds of reps, right? Because that's a realistic play right there. Come down in transition, beautiful pass. If you cut hard to the net, then you might get it back, right? So another goal for the Jumbos there. Definitely that's something I like to see from them.
And that's something you love to see as Coach Shoot. Cutters getting rewarded for their actions on the crease. That type of movement is going to open stuff up even against good teams, not just against perhaps a tired Saints defense tonight.
Yeah, definitely tired. They've had to play the majority of this game, just possession after possession, running the clock all the way down for the Jumbos. And Antizana wins another draw, so they'll be right back on defense.
Yeah, great solo effort there. She carries down this right wing. Kind of looks like she wants to go to the goal, but thinks better of it at the very end, moving the ball behind instead.
Yeah, that's a good decision there from Antizana, right?
Yep.
Not exactly wide open like we saw Cromwell and Rothstein earlier.
Yeah, tricky shot on the run there, even if she had taken it.
Indeed.
Yale with it now, splits to her right. The Saints slide fast now, something we didn't see earlier in this game.
Yeah, and there isn't exactly an established passer out on the field right now for the Jumbos. So, it'll be interesting to see what they can do when getting a slide like that, if they can find an open player. The cut through the middle again. This time nothing there. It was a Morosino on the cut.
That pass almost slips out of bounds, but scooped up by Antizana. Ball back up top. Ends up in the stick of Gibbons. Gibbons, who looks like she wants to dodge here with the stick in her right hand, splits to her left. Great on-ball defense there from the Saints. And a foul is called on the field, and Antizana will have I believe it looks like a free position on the field.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's interesting to see Gibbons out there still. She's definitely a player who plays a lot of time in big games. Been a leader of the second midfield for a lot of the season as Antizana tucks it away off the free position.
She had that ball on the wing and had no thoughts about passing and drove straight to that goal. Great move, faking it sort of to the outside and dumping it back to the inside. Crowley never really stood a chance on that one.
Yeah, definitely a lot of desire there from Antizana. Just about the fastest dodge of the second half, I would say. Yeah, could have passed into the middle. Gibbons was definitely wide open, but good decision either way. Finishes it well. Can't blame her for getting on the score sheet.
Lucy Hodge, after a quick break, is back on the field now on attack. And Emma Yale is coming off the field with about 3 minutes left. You have to wonder if those are all of her minutes for the game.
Yeah, definitely quality minutes for her. Done good things.
And you brought up Gibbons, and you have to wonder, because she did get some of those reps with that first team early on. And you have to wonder if Coach Shute has a sort of a deeper reason in leaving her on with the second string late into this fourth quarter. And speaking of Gibbons, she came up with that briefly, but it is scooped up by Antizana, and Gibbons now up ahead.
Yeah, and as for the Jumbos and their depth, kind of their team, they are missing a number of key pieces today. It's unclear for a lot of them whether they're just for rest purposes, maybe like small nagging injuries that, you know, in a game like this you can rest during, but in a bigger game you would play through. But Lehan's out. Colette Smith has missed most of the season at this point. She sustained a concussion early on in the season, just after the second game. Wasn't having the rest of seasons anyways, but definitely she's a piece that they'll really look forward to get back. She's a very important part of this team, big leader for the team on attack. Madeline Delaney's also not playing today. Huge piece as well. Caroline Conahan, the freshman sensation, at least one of them for this Jumbos team, not playing. So they are missing a lot of pieces today, whether it be for rest purposes or injury-wise. But once again, they're showing, you know, that maybe they don't need all those players on every day, right? With this kind of depth, it's really just a gift for a coach to have.
Yeah, getting to take advantage of basically a full-on second team that is capable of holding their own against most opponents is got to be a great feeling for a head coach, as the Jumbos here with about 15 seconds left on the shot clock look to snatch a late goal in this game.
Yeah, undoubtedly. And a lot of these players will be key pieces for the team next year, too.
Great save by Crowley as she comes out of her cage there. That looked to be a surefire goal, but instead she throws the ball away, but it's scooped up by Shermuksova.
Check from behind by Mastrobono.
Yeah, great check.
Yeah, and we're seeing, once again, like I said it before, Mastrobono really works hard on the ride. Like, I said that I loved her energy, but even more impressive than her energy on the offensive end is energy like that on the ride in a game that's 20-0. Like, that says a lot about what kind of player she is.
Yeah, when you're late in the fourth quarter and Mastrobono is creating 2 turnovers on the ride later on that both lead to goals, that is something you love to see as any coach.
Yeah, and it's actually 21-0. Excuse me. Tufts' record for goals in a game is 26. With 30 seconds left, it seems like that won't be troubled, although it did look like it after the dominant first quarter they put up.
And this Tufts defense continues to impress as Fernando Pouillet.
Yeah, Franca there does manage to check it out of her stick. One of her only contributions of the entire game.
Yeah, unfortunately too little too late here as the Jumbos move into the zone. And with 10 seconds left, they score a late goal. That is a Morosino, and with a running clock, that will do it today.
Yeah, so sophomore Morosino caps it off for Tufts. Just a dominant victory for them. They'll look forward to Hamilton and Bowdoin in the coming week, one on the weekend, and the next one on Wednesday to close out their season. And then they'll look forward to the NESCAC tournament.
Yep, and that'll be all for us tonight at Bellow Field. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you all next time.
You're so hypnotic, magical.